Spooky Tuesday.
Are you sure you don't want to come to the movie? It's in 3D.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Death.
And this week we are doing da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. It's the final destination. Da-da-da-da.
Oh my god.
What's
That
happening?
was so beautiful. That was
Wow,
so
really
beautiful.
smoothly done.
Wow.
I
so who
want
planned
them-
this.
I want them to just prepare for singing as a nice hint.
Oh,
of
you're
what
warming
we're-
them up for next
Yeah,
episode.
I'm warming them up for next episode. Just be prepared.
That's
But
a little
like,
Easter egg for later.
Oh, I'm so used to them singing at this point that I'm not even horrified by an entirely musical episode.
That's next week. This week, the final destination, which it is not. It's Final Destination 4, actually. And
Final Destination Summer continues, baby.
Final Destination Summer is never over.
I watched this movie and I realized I had never seen this one before. So all of the deaths, this actually made me very mad. All of the deaths that I know to be coming in the franchise that I have been thinking about since FD1 are all in FD5. So I guess I have seen most of FD5, but cannot remember whatever the very exciting ending might be. Or the death compilation video that I've been talking about that I saw apparently only included all of them except for FD4, which is stupid because there are some really fucking clutch deaths in this movie, I will say.
Well, but now that I've seen this movie, I can tell you there is no mammogram death at any point in the franchise. This is the only one I haven't seen. I completed the franchise now. No mammograms.
What's wrong with me where I created in my mind a mammogram death scene?
I mean,
like what?
She had
like,
a dream,
what?
you know?
What's
think I
wrong with me? That I
know.
was like, you know that part where the girl gets a mammogram and her boob explodes? Because that's what happens. This is like something I have seen. I swear to God.
I was going to say, I
swear
think I know what
to
death
God.
you're thinking of, but you seem to have a very specific concept in mind. So I don't know where
'Cause
that
there
comes
can't
from.
be there can't be two medical related
That's not
deaths
true.
in the next movie.
Oh, not in one movie. Sure.
In one movie. Yeah.
Well, I'm telling
Not
you
in
for
the whole
now, there's-
franchise.
Definitely no mammogram.
Someone, anybody would like to do any like dream interpretation for me to figure out why this has happened to me? This was years ago that I created this memory. And now you know how I don't have a good memory at all. or
Somebody
any-
on
what?
Reddit remembers something that you remember. Let me see.
It's the hidden death. It's the secret death that you have to. It's an Easter egg in the deleted scenes.
Well, here's the thing. While Chelsea is looking that up, if you, like Monica and Chelsea, have not seen this movie, I realized that I had seen this movie before and I've seen all five
good.
of them. I just don't remember 5 as much, but the Final Destination, aka Final Destination 4, is a horrifying premonition saves a young man and his friends from death during a racetrack incident, but terrible fates await them nonetheless.
We love it nonetheless.
And here's the thing. I literally could have just been like, it's like the first 3 movies, but at a racetrack, and everybody would have
race car.
known that.
Okay.
The plot.
Yeah. It is. But the other thing about this movie is it's called the tagline for it is "Death Save the Best for 3D," because this is the 3D Final Destination. And as a bitch who did not see it when it came out and who saw it yesterday for the first time, I was watching it hungover, which I'll get into. And I was like, what is going on vibes wise with this movie? And I had to get like 25 minutes in until I was like, oh, this was for sure a 3D movie when it came out. Because I was like, everything is fucking punching me in the face. And like watching it 2D on your computer screen when you did not know it was supposed to be 3D is a very interesting and honestly hilarious experience. I kind of recommend it just to see how ridiculous it is. Why aren't the studios going for 3D films anymore? Like, why have they left that behind? It was such a beautiful medium.
Because they made Piranha 3D, and therefore they're like, we've peaked. We
Yeah,
never
oh
have
my
to
God.
make another
No.
movie.
You are so right, Sydney. You're right on the
Except
money
that
with
they
that.
did do
honey.
Piranha 3 Double D. And that was just a little bit higher.
That's true. That one
So.
did slap. I
Yeah.
saw them both. I wish that there could have been an at-home 3D experience for me. When I was trying to describe to Adam the fact that this was a 3D movie, he was like, "How did you watch it?" And I was like, "On HBO Max." And he was like, "But like, how could you see it?" And I was like, I was like, they made it a normal movie, so they could still make money on it on streaming. Don't worry. But this, I said this when I texted you guys. When I was watching this earlier in the week, I watched it over several days actually, so I finished it yesterday. I had a busy week. Okay, I had a
Microdosing
busy
Final
week.
Destination 4.
Yeah, I was microdosing it, which is probably a good thing for this movie because it's kind of intense. But
Sure.
when I watched the opening scene of this movie, just like especially because this comes after the exalted, incredible, the high point of the franchise, FD3.
Mm-hmm.
This opening sequence so feels like a parody of the Final Destination movies. It felt like a scary movie version of the Final Destination movies,
Okay,
which I
entry
loved.
point. I'm seizing this to say,
Go.
per Reddit, there are some suggestions that what you're thinking of might be from a scary movie parodying the Final Destination franchise at some point. I don't recall that. Somebody shot that suggestion down. Somebody else said it's from a Shane Dawson Final Destination parody, but somebody else shot that down. But people remember a boob being crushed in a machine, and they also are associating it with Final Destination. But it's just not. So I don't know what it is. There was no answers in that thread, but you're having
you're
an
talking
experience
about that
people
now.
had
I was like,
before.
what? Okay, well,
yeah, I went back
I'm
to
glad that there.
But also,
if you also remember a boob squash Final Destination, please DM me about it so I can feel less insane.
I agree though. I think this movie FD4 is so strange in a couple of different ways, and I think part of that is because they were like, let's do it in 3D, because it was like all the reboots were being done in 3D, like My Bloody
2009.
Valentine, and like was one of the Texas Chainsaw Massacres in 3D maybe, or something like that. They were doing a bunch of horror movie 3D movies at the time, but they also
What
thought
a
it would be the
time to be
last
alive.
one. So they like broke a lot of the conventions. Like they didn't have the spooky opening credits the same, which really like tonally set the scene, and the other ones.
Okay, but I fucking loved the credits for this movie.
They
so
were great.
Much.
They were great. I didn't have a problem with the movie, but it feels like Final Destination fanfic to me rather than a Final Destination entry.
No, I totally agree. It was just like so goofy, and like all of the I don't know, just all of the little signs leading up to the big palooza in my mind. This is the Daytona thing that we were talking about in FD2. They went to Daytona for Daytona, what number? 500?
Yes, Daytona 500.
500. This is Daytona 500. Okay, it's not, but that was what it was in my mind. It was much more bootleg than Daytona 500 probably is, I would hope. My God. But like all the little details, like the fact that one of the details is that guy whistling Dixieland because he's racist. Like that's another that part. The fact that another one of the little,
racism in this film.
The racism in this film. We get a hard R. We get like just blatant. He has a fucking swastika tattoo.
He's gonna burn a cross on that guy's lawn.
I know.
KKK shit. That's not just regular racism.
He's straight up a terrorist.
Have the old guy at the end who's like racist against Asians, and you're just like, why? That's so unnecessary.
They do a
so
little
2009.
racism.
Why was that funny? In scare quotes, you can't see me scare quoting.
They do a little racism in FD5 as well, but this really shocked me, frankly. I was wondering
2009 like. I was there, but
the vibes
I don't
were
remember.
weird when the racist guy, who by the way, his name is literally just racist in the credits. He has a name in the script, I guess, but he's not credited with it. It's just racist and racist girlfriend. But
that makes me a little happy, but
it is kind of funny.
Continue.
I think they thought that they were doing something, because then also, sorry to skip around, but in that his scene when the music is playing, it's like, why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? And then I didn't know that there was a lyric in that song about skin color, but I guess it's about bridging the racial divide.
Yeah.
So
that's
I think that they were like, racism is bad. Which, you know,
no, he was a racist fuck just to set up how fucking hilarious that first death was, because it was fucking hilarious, because it was so stupid. It was just pure stupidity.
The vibes were so weird though, because he was like, the neighborhood's going to shit, and I was like, that's a weird thing to say when the black security guard is approaching you, telling you to move your feet. I thought it was gonna be subtle. No.
Chelsea,
literally
he
no.
had a swastika tattoo that you could see from the get.
Immediately.
I noticed it immediately. I was like, there is a swastika in front of me, and I don't like it. Obvi. But I was just like, wow, okay. And like the tampons in the ear, like everything is
funny.
I thought it was really yeah. I it's all funny, but it's all like a fucking comedy. This opening scene, like every part of it was hilarious. Nothing about it was like truly ominous.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I totally miss, and this becomes important later, and I don't really get it, but what's her name? Hold on. I'm sorry.
Take your time.
Wait, stop. It's Janet. Her name's Janet, but then I just looked at the actress Krista Allen is in this movie, and on IMDb, her name is just MILF.
Yeah. She's just MILF.
Lots of characters just straight up did not get names.
They're like MILF, racist. Like, okay, great. Love this incredible.
Hunt, MILF, mechanic, Nick.
Right.
Okay, cool. Anyway, sorry. So Janet at the very beginning is like, I wish I could have just seen the movie instead. And I totally missed that the first time I watched it. But it gets called back at the very end of the movie, which we'll get to. Which apparently the whole movie thing later is a race car movie. I don't fucking know. It was just
it's a real movie.
Just like stupid, really lovely.
Yeah,
stuff.
which really shocked the hell out of me. But that's what IMDb trivia says. The whole Lovelade's dying, which I was like, why is a movie called Lovelade's dying? That sounds like a rom-com, an explosion movie. But it's a real movie
about NASCAR and love.
It's The Long Kiss Goodnight from 1996. It's a New Line Cinemas production movie, which is what this is. So, I mean, they just kept it in the family.
Oh, they played another movie and they called it a different name.
Yeah, they gave it a new name.
Oh, okay. I was like, why did you say a different name then if it's a real movie on its own? I get it. I figured it out. But it's so fucking hokey. And I like at first I was like, this is gonna be a hot pile of steaming shit. It was hilarious. Like honestly, I had a really good time. And because, as I said earlier, I was hungover when I watched the bulk of this movie. When I'm hungover, I'm more vulnerable in many different ways. Emotional, scared of anything, bright lights, all of that. And so I got way more scared by everything. And I was like freaking out watching this because it is very gory. I think in a different way than the other movies. And I think that's probably because they relied so heavily on CGI for this one. Like everything was CGI, and there's something different about like the CGI gore. They like go further with that because I think that they like can in scare quotes as well, like they can like do whatever the fuck they want because it's all fake anyway, so there's not the like practical effects like limitations.
I think they both think that it looks real and also think that there's like enough uncanny valley like separation from it as human remains, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like they were doing the best they could, and it does look pretty fucking good, but like, you know, practical effects don't look totally real either, but I respect them more because I understand like all the hijinks you have to go through, like I don't know, all the stuff that has to go into it, and it does look a little bit more real because I, with my beautiful eyes, 2020 vision for now until I turn 30, can see when they're suddenly behind a green screen. Like I can tell, like I know a death is about to happen because I'm like, everything looks different all of a sudden. I wonder fucking why. You know what I mean? Oh man. But I mean, have any of you guys been to a NASCAR thing or car race thing?
I was gonna say Sydney for sure has.
I want to go so bad, except this is so scary. And what if my head gets blown off by a wheel?
So right by like Birmingham, like close is Talladega. You know, like Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah.
So we got all of that. And I've been there. And it's not like NASCAR, but I've been to the Indy 500, which is like the little cars. And I did see a nice man like run through a bonfire. That was great. One of the best things about going to these events is they have like fields and stuff, and you just get absolutely hammered. And then you can go.
They have fields and stuff? Is that what you said? Fields? Oh, so you get fucked up in the fields.
Yeah.
Like you like tailgate in the fields.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down now. I was like, what do
picnic.
the fields do to you?
And then if you know the right people, you can be in the middle of the racetrack.
Oh.
Tight.
And the Indy 500 had a rave on the inside, and there was like EDM DJs. It was very odd.
I've seen like a race in Baltimore at some point. There was like a whatever in the harbor, but it wasn't like a stadium kind of thing. It was like they brought in like football stands from your high school kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was no worries about the infrastructure crumbling suddenly.
I think we do a Spooky Tuesday field trip to Talladega at some point and have a good time.
When we do Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby on the pod for a 5th Tuesday, you've got it, babe.
Right? Here we are, live from Talladega Speedway.
I can't wait till we start like going around the country to do live episodes. That seems very close at hand, of course.
And clearly our first stop is going to be Talladega.
I fucking would love to do that shit. Okay. I would fucking love it. I also want to go to more like WWE fights and lucha libre fights, all this type of like grandiose shit. That's what I'm looking for. I need it.
One time we were sitting at a WWE event, got into a verbal argument with one of the wrestlers because I was bullying him so much.
That's classic Sydney. Sydney's on her bullying bullshit today. Sydney's being so mean to me today.
My little deviled egg. Never forget, I am a bully first and a woman second. Okay?
Not to me, Sydney. I'm immune.
Nobody is safe. I will bully anybody.
Not
out of
me.
love, you know?
You would never bully me because you love me and you know that
Chelsea,
I don't like to be bullied.
I only bully people
rejecting
that I love.
reality. You're being bullied right now. You have to accept it.
I'm the master of my own reality, therefore, no, I'm not. Literally.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, but back to Final Destination 4. I loved all the callbacks to other deaths in this movie. They literally call back all of them in the opening credits, but I love that we get the racist couple being chopped in half, which is reminiscent of FD2, with that stoner guy. And we also get some fun impalings of heads and all of that. We love to see it. The mechanic's fake death in the original premonition was fucking sick. We hate to see a trampling death though. Was so sad to see MILF get trampled and then hit by an engine. It feels so wrong to just call her MILF, but we're gonna have to.
She does have a name, because it's like some of
MILF.
the characters. What's here? Let me find it in my IMDb trivia. The MILF's name is Samantha Lane, but that's not fun to me.
It's MILF. It's MILF.
It's MILF.
It's MILF. She is a MILF and she's very hot and she's fun in this and I love her.
But she's also the worst.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If you came to me to get highlights and a pedicure 10 minutes before we closed, I would absolutely be like, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of here. No,
she's got a girls' night. She really needs this.
Get the fuck out of here.
Okay, here's an angle. Here's an angle to make you like it more, but it's not going to really make you like it more. Why does she want to look that good for girls' night? Is she stepping out on her husband with the girls?
Wow. Okay, maybe,
Something
but still.
to consider, but still fucked up.
Thoughts. I'm thinking.
I'm processing. I'm considering.
We're just trying to make it clear. That's the point of the podcast.
That's our whole shtick.
That's our whole spiel. I mean, we already talked about the racist deaths. I don't even want to talk about him anymore. But we'll say very hilarious.
I did like that he caught on fire though. That was great for me.
I love that he caught on fire, and I love that they cut from him being on fire and then exploding into a million pieces to what's her fucking name, Lori. Lori watching cartoons in the morning, and it's a cartoon of someone being like, my ass is on fire, my ass is on fire, and she's like, hee hee hee. I'm like, you're an adult woman who's giggling to cartoons.
Hanging out in her undies. Yeah,
I love that. Oh, she's always hanging out in her undies, which we love. The thing about her, she's played by Chantel Van Santen, is how I'm deciding to say her name.
Sure.
And I think that her face looks a lot like Evan Rachel Wood, which helped me fall deeply in love with her throughout this film. I have a big Evan Rachel Wood love.
Who doesn't though?
Have you seen her? Oh my God. Have you watched Westworld? She's incredible. So they could be cousins. And someone can look that up and see if it's true, but it won't be me because I'm just going to live in this fantasy where they're distant cousins.
Sure. I choose to believe this, so it's real.
Yeah. But okay, the next death is the MILF, right? After racist?
Yes.
MILF. Okay. MILF's death was so fucking anxiety producing. First of all, those kids are pieces of shit. Second of all, she's a piece of shit. Third of all, the salon is called Salon Dante. It's all listened to the Dante's Inferno episode. Manu, where are you? Come back on and tell us about it.
Where are you?
And I'm so sorry. Anyway.
We gotta prepare them for next week, guys.
Warming them up.
That part was literally so anxiety producing, and the reason it was because of the toenails.
The scraping.
Oh, I hated that.
Also, they did every single part of her hair experience wrong. Like, where was the soaking of her feet? Her feet were so dry when they were scraping her toenails. I was like, they should not be this dry. It is making me very upset. Adam has a thing where he cannot hear nail biting related things, and I bite my nails literally constantly. This is my fatal flaw. And so I watched him watch it, and he almost threw up. He gagged. But I that one I feel like does the best. Well, that's not necessarily true, but it does a really good job of doing the classic Final Destination pre-death dread. There's so many fake outs, there's so many cop outs, there's so many ways she could have died. There's so many visual cues to we've got the fan, we've got the chair, we've got the scissors, all of that. But like once her kids come in and like slip and fall and spill their slushies everywhere, it looks like there's guts all over the floor. It's like red vines and red slushy. Like I loved all those little details. That one I thought was really well done.
Her death was good. I thought it would have been something like I was fully expecting her death to be like something in the salon, and then for it to be a rock from the guy on the lawnmower just yeeted into her eyeball. I was like, okay.
Like, we got an eyeball clue though. The
it.
X-Acto knife fell on the eye in the photo the night before.
Oh my God.
Can we? Because I don't know how I feel. Do we like that we see like he's getting like premonition clues, but they're like too vague?
He's getting
really
like
help?
BBC Sherlock style clues.
Mind Palace.
All in
babes.
3D.
They're literally just vehicles for the 3D. There's like
it's
aren't
just a
that
little
many
screensaver ass display.
They're
I was just
hokey
like,
as fuck looking. It's just like the hook comes out to you, like the rock, the eye, like oh my God, it's so just a vehicle for things to pop into your face. Like I get why people get mad about jump scares if the jump scare is just like something flying at your face in a 3D movie, but also just the thrill of thinking you're going to get hit in the face. That harkens back to the very first film, which was a film of a train coming towards people, and they saw it and they all got scared and they jumped out of the way because they thought a train was going to come out of the screen. That is what led to 3D. This is a film history pod. Hello, I'm Monica Haidt. But that is a true thing. That is a true thing. I think it was, I don't know if it's the first film, but one of the first films they had a train coming towards people. And
well, no one tell me that the
were
first
so
film
scared. They were so
was
scared.
That 3-second clip.
That's true. That's true. I don't know. I think the very first
was theater experience, maybe?
Yeah, theater experience. One of the very first ones had a train coming towards the screen, and the people were like, "My God, there's a train here in the theater, and we're about to be killed." And they were
Meanwhile,
terrified.
Actually
the first horror movie.
That's a very clear reference to the end of this movie with the explosion.
Oh yeah.
True. Too true. Oh
wow, they were really engaging with cinema. They were really getting to the roots. I believe they did that on purpose for sure.
But you want to know what they did not celebrate in film history and honestly pay the respect? This is the first Final Destination movie without Tony Todd in it. And you can feel it. You can feel it.
That's why it felt like a cheap knockoff.
Mm-hmm. And it's also the first Final Destination movie that wasn't filmed in Canada. So
that's really the tell.
Disgusting.
But the worst. It looks so different. Not just like the 3D thing, but I feel like the like color palette of the previous movies was like more subtle, like a little muted. This felt very much like, do you remember when all of a sudden people started getting like HD TVs and you would watch something on it and it looked like so strange, even though it looked normal on your TV the week before, and you're like, I know the TV show didn't change, it's just my TV that changed.
Did it have that weird setting that was like true motion and it makes everything look like it's reality TV? Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about, but I know the like visual of what you're talking about and how everything looked weird, and like they're filming for reality TV now. I remember like watching Dexter and being like, why does this look so fucked up? But yeah, there's just like a completely different like visual tone to this movie as well. Like they really, I don't know, it's so interesting to me. Obviously, they thought it was the last film in the franchise. It's so interesting to me that they wanted it to be so different than all of the others.
Yeah, I don't.
This movie is like, because I felt like the other ones kind of connected more with each other.
They did.
And this one has like some references because like
it's got a shit ton of references. It's just not engaging.
Like the story
it feels
doesn't.
like a ripoff of the first one, honestly. Because like, especially character wise, I mean, There is like a couple aspect of it. I just have my own Final Destination moment right now where my headphones just rushed towards my face and almost hit me. So that was really
You're
scary.
having headphone issues today.
Here they are. They rushed down towards my face. It was very scary. We're fine. Everything is fine. I'm just living the film, you know?
Your beepy headphones, these rushing headphones. You should take
anything
these
could
premonitions
happen.
seriously, baby.
Oh my God, I know. I gotta stay away from podcasting.
It's over for us.
Oh
Shit.
no, this is actually
Oh,
our last
no.
episode. So sorry.
You have to make it through all of Final Destination franchise. We can't quit now. I will risk my life to get to FD5.
Look, it's either your day or it's not your day, okay? What are you gonna do about it?
But okay, even character-wise, it felt very like copy-y of the first one. We have like an older hottie who dies. They look similar. That's the teacher in the first one, and
And the
MILF.
MILF.
We have Strider, Striker, whatever the fuck in the first one. And then we have Hunt,
Who?
and they are the guy who plays that guy in American Pie. I don't remember
Stifler.
his real name.
Sean William Scott.
Striker is
I don't
actually
know what his name is in Final Destination.
I don't know what it is.
Isn't
in
it
Final
Billy?
Destination.
Oh, I was gonna say it might be Billy. Yeah.
It's probably Billy, and it's definitely not Striker. And I'm so sorry. But
I thought you were talking about
decoding
Carter
my mind.
actually, though, because I think racist guy's name in this movie is Carter as well, which is weird to me.
Who's Carter in the previous?
In the
one?
first one, he's the bad boy who's driving the car, and then the seatbelt rips, and he gets
Whose
pulled
girl
out, and
gets
then
killed by the bus.
with Terry.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Janet kind of is similar to her in that way, and then I think like Stifler / Billy is very similar to Hunt in this movie. They're like the same fucking character, except
I feel like
Hunt is funnier, honestly.
Stifler and Hunt are the same, but Billy was like very meek, mild.
Yeah, no, I know, but he was supposed to
Okay.
be that kind of a character. And I feel like his jokes didn't hit that well in the first one. We talked about that in the first episode. He was like trying to be the comic relief, but it wasn't like super effective.
He's just in his flop era.
Yeah, he was in his flop era. They didn't write that many good jokes for him. It's not his fault.
Sure.
And then we've got a Clear and Devin Sawa. Look at me switching everyone's names up because I literally can't remember anyone's name.
I love that
but
for
like
you.
Clear and the main guy from the first one, similar to Lori, and is his name Nick in this movie?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it is.
It is Nick because I just read that 5 seconds ago.
He looks like the
It
main
is
guy
Nick.
in FD5 also a little bit, which is not ideal casting wise, but what are you gonna do?
He's got like generic white guy vibes, and he's
Yeah.
hot, like in his
Yeah.
own generic way, and that's like fine for him. Thank you, Bobby Campo, for your work. You know, you weren't terrible in this. I had a fine time. But like, there's like, that's why for me it felt so much like a parody because it like they're like rehashed characters. They really like
Mhm.
rehashed some of the past movies. It felt like a combo pack of first one and the second one as far as how the characters knew each other, and like it didn't have the heart that the third one had where you sort of actually cared about the characters at all. Maybe it was just the hold that Mary Elizabeth Winstead has over all of us. But like I was like, I don't care what happens to any of these motherfuckers, and so I just had fun, and it was just it was a fourth movie in a franchise.
It sure was a fourth
It
movie in a
sure
franchise.
was. Okay, I have some questions.
Okay.
So we are now
Pose them.
4 premonition disaster movies deep, right? We're
Mhm.
committed.
Mm-hmm.
Say we are at an event and I have a premonition. Is it my responsibility to tell everybody else? Or should I just be like, not my circus, not my monkeys, but I'm gonna leave?
I think it I do like a
If
quick
I'm
vibe check.
there-
Like, hey, vibe check. Do you guys believe in premonitions?
I
If
check.
they say
Do you believe me when
yes-
I say we're all gonna die and we should leave?
Hey, vibe check.
If
Are you
you
guys open
say
to
that,
information
I
that
will
might
leave.
possibly hurt you?
Here's the thing.
You don't
I
want
just
trauma dumps.
I just recently read this book called The Southern
Final
Book Club's
Destination
Guide.
5.
No, I did not read the book.
Final
If someone
Destination
made a
book.
book of these movies,
There
I would
are
like
Final
no.
Destination books.
These are
I'm not
books.
gonna read them. I'm not gonna read them.
I heard maybe trivia. I'm actually fast. One of them sounds maybe kind of interesting. I might
Were
report
they-
Club,
back.
Monica.
I
book
I
club.
really I don't know how I feel about like book movies, and then they're like, but what if I booked it? You know what I mean? Like has that been good? Has that gone well?
They're
in the
all
past. I've never
original
done that.
stories, it seems. So it's like
Oh.
bonus Final Destination
It's
for
like
you.
fan fiction. Oh, okay,
Not
then
like
I
a
dig it. Yeah,
novelization.
Okay, great. That's the word. Not booked it. Novelization. All right, okay.
Look, you got your point across.
I think booked it is the new.
I think booked it
term.
seems cool.
They
It's like the
booked
cool
it.
hip.
Booked it.
It's the cool hip version of novelization. Anyway, what was I gonna say? At the
You
very
read a
beginning?
book and then I interrupted.
I read
I'm
a book.
So sorry.
No, it's okay. I read I've been really on a Grady Hendrix kick lately, and I read like almost all of his books. He did My Best Friend's Exorcism, which is going to be a movie coming out in mid-September on some platform. I don't know. It's not theatrical release. It should have been a television show. Just saying. Anyway, but he also did this book called The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. And there's a part of the book where someone is like, this man is a vampire, and everyone is like, you're a psychopath and you're stupid and I don't trust you. And I was like, there's a lot of misogyny themes in the book. And I was literally screaming at the top of my lungs to Adam. I was like, if I think that someone's a vampire and you don't believe me, it's over. I will leave you. So same thing. If you say I had a premonition and we're all about to fucking die and I don't believe you, then leave me to die. Cause like I trust you after everything we've been through on Final Destination Summer. I will believe you if you have that premonition.
Okay, so that'll be the thing. I'll be like, hey guys, vibe check.
Hey guys, welcome to Spooky Tuesday. I just had a premonition where we're all gonna die.
Are you down with that vibe? Should we leave? Should we change locations?
Thoughts, concerns. Anybody want to weigh in?
Right, but my second,
this sounds like a great time for a bathroom break. Let's go.
right? And so my second thing that I also want to talk about is, you know how one of our favorite things to ask, or me, is being like, would you still love me if I was a worm? So today on my day date, I was like, I'm gonna ask you a question and I need you to take this very seriously. And he was like, oh God. And I was like, if I was being hunted by death, if me and my friends were being hunted by death one by one, would you still stay with me and try to protect me from death?
What was
What
the
did he
answer?
say?
That's a
He
high
said-
investment question.
He said, yeah, as long as you're trying to help yourself too.
He said, everybody carries their own weight, babe.
You know, this is the man that
Not
didn't know my
unfair,
last name
but-
last week. And now he's like, yeah, sure. I mean, if you're going to help yourself, I guess I'll help you chase death. Great. Love
Look,
that.
he's not part of Death's design. It sounds like it would be safe for him regardless. Well,
I don't know. A lot of
movie
these
theater
deaths, there's a lot of
explosions.
blowout.
yeah, there's a lot of casualties going on.
a
Okay.
lot of casualties.
One of the things that I do like about this movie is it gives us two big disasters. We have the
Yeah.
opening.
One big disaster.
And
yeah.
the double premonition, and like they took what FD3 did so fucking well, and they did it less well but fun. I love that there's the double premonition, and it wasn't early in the movie. Also, something I just want to give a little shout out to a movie that is as hokey and stupid as this one. They know what's going on. It was only an hour and 20 minutes.
So shortest one in the franchise.
And
We
thank
love
God.
to see a shitty movie know its place. You know what I mean?
Know yourself, know your worth, baby.
Don't worry, we're not going to take up too much of your time. You'll be in and out
Yeah.
so speedy. Why not
It's
just
dumb,
slot this into
and
the
you're
schedule?
gonna get to bed right in a normal hour. Okay, thank you.
It's thoughtful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we talked about the first couple of deaths. I'm not exactly sure the order of everything, but I just wanted to talk about the mechanic's death really quickly because it was short it was very sweet and it was awesome. I loved his character just being so sad. I felt bad that he was so sad. I felt so bad that his hot girlfriend who stole the binoculars filled with well, not Jack, Jim.
Jim.
Yes.
And I really thought he said
Was-
gin at first, like London Dry Gin. And I was like, what an interesting choice for the NASCAR race. And then I put subtitles on and I was like, never mind, I get the vibes.
Jim
JK.
Beam, baby. We're a big Beam household over here, so we knew all about it. But I only watched this myself. Anyway, we're moving on from that. The royal we. I feel really bad for him though, that no matter what the shakeout is, his girlfriend still gets exploded by a wheel. Like that.
Yeah.
I
sucks.
know.
Death was
Rough.
like, you don't get to escape no matter what. The wheel's gonna get you, honey. Big wheels keep on turning, as they say. But Andrew Fiscella, an incredible actor playing mechanic. I'm so sorry. I'm moving on very quickly from my joke, and we're powering through so no one says anything. I love that, like, it's literally like a 1-minute scene of them trying to save him, and it's too late no matter what, and he gets shredded by a gate. And now, looking at his IMDb picture, it's a very handsome picture of him looking very serious. And you know what's behind him? A gate, just like the one that shredded his back and he exploded through.
Chain
Wow.
link fence.
Chain link
Wow.
fence. Thank you so much for saying what it was called, because I couldn't remember.
You're so welcome. Anything for you.
Thank you. That was a good one. But I think the spiciest, most exciting part of this movie is the Janet and Hunt dual Deathapalooza, where you don't know who's gonna die first. And I was fucking freaking out. Like, I thought that was a really fun thing. I don't know if they've done that before, where there's like they're trying to save two people at once because they die so close together and they can't
That
remember.
they don't know.
I thought that was a really fun thing to explore in this one.
And I kind of thought they were gonna die simultaneously, exact same moment. And I think they probably would have. You know what I mean? I think that was one of the ones where they kept emphasizing the order, and so I think in theory there really was no one or the other first. It had to be the exact same moment.
Yeah. Which is so interesting. Like, Death really had to coordinate his shit. But I was not expecting to see the full frontal sex boobies in this one, just because I was at work when I was watching it. I was on my lunch break and I was like watching this periodically throughout lunch breaks last week, and then I was like, my God, I was like literally had my hand over my screen to shield the boobies from myself, just in case there's a mirror behind my desk. So I was worried someone was gonna come in and like see the boobies in the mirror. It was very stressful. But like, Hunt is a fucker. He is such a motherfucker.
The fact that he was like, I finished 4 minutes ago, but he called her lazy 30 seconds before that. Like, sir, you already finished and you're still being faster, slower. Don't be lazy. Fuck off. How dare you still deign to give instructions?
I know, he's so fucking full of himself. He is hot in a Y2K way for sure. Well, you know what I mean. You know.
Yes.
He's
Very
got that
specific for like
classic-
08, 09. Like,
Yeah.
yes.
Like, he was like, it's like someone drew him, you know, from that era. They did a great job. Nick Zano, you lived in the moment. Also, looking at his IMDb picture now, maybe aging in a very nice way. Still has spicy, exciting hair too. So good for him. From the looks of him in 2009, didn't think the hair would last, but it did. And we are happy for him. We love to see a man move past male pattern baldness, and that makes me very excited.
He improvised the ever played donkey punch line. That one was all him. He brought that to the table himself.
Genius.
What a guy. What
An
a man,
actor.
What a man.
What a mighty good man.
We're really preparing you for next week.
This is tame compared to next week.
This is tame compared to next week. But I did not notice until that little callback later in the movie that the name of the golf club that he was at, golf club golf club. Okay, when I said golf club, I was thinking of a golf club, and I was like, I'm saying the wrong thing. But he is part of a country club.
Yeah,
there we go. Where golf is played. And it's called Forest Lawn, which is the name of a popular cemetery here in California. Is it nationwide? I don't know if that was a little wink to cemeteries, but it definitely is for sure in my mind.
Absolutely is now.
Yeah. And it's also a big sponsor of Dodger Stadium. And so every time I go to a Dodgers game, it's like, plan for your future at Forest Lawn. And I'm like, can you not remind me of my impending death here at Dodger Stadium when I'm sitting in the nosebleeds and there's literally like I don't even know what degree drop from this section into the stadium below. Like, this could very well be the moment I die, and I don't need you to remind me.
They want you to be prepared. But
last time I was there, a guy in the row behind me, cut this part out, literally fell like from his seat. He was so drunk, he fell from his seat head first into the row behind me. And he was like doing a headstand like into the row. And he was really old. And it was so scary. And we had to this is when I went with Devin and Savannah and Adam. And we had to help push him back up. He literally fully dunked into the row. So literally exactly what I'm describing. It was horrifying. He was like, "Oh, I just tripped." I was like, "You need to hydrate, my friend, my sir." He was 65 at least. And then he lost his hearing aid. And those cost hundreds of dollars. Anyway, it was terrifying. So this is why I'm so horrified.
I have a big fear about that with baseball stadiums. They're so steep for no good reason.
They are so really steep.
that very top
because they're so narrow,
so steep. And apparently, Adam told me that people die, people have died, have fallen off onto the
Adam
thing
should
below.
Keep that information to himself.
I like to know about that kind of stuff.
The soccer game that I went to in Atlanta had we were in the nosebleeds because they were cheap, but it was we could not walking up was terrifying. You're just
ugh.
Oh my God.
It was so scary. It was so scary. I was like, this is what I've always imagined would happen. And then it happened. And I was like, you're lucky you didn't smash your fucking head on the ground.
Maybe you had a Final Destination premonition.
I mean, maybe you can keep this in, but I don't know. It was fucking scary, man. It was so scary. He's okay. He didn't end up hitting his head, but my God.
Close call.
Oh, but yeah. Anyway, I love in this movie that Hunt has that thing with the lucky coin. And that he's so obsessed with the lucky coin. And I love that that's what leads him to his death. It's just a cute little you. His death.
Have you read the Chuck Palahniuk short story Guts?
No.
It's haunting,
that's
disgusting.
How you say his last name? Wow, I had no idea.
That's my best guess. That's how I've always said it, but it could be incorrect. But he has this short story. I don't recall the first time. I think it was in high school that I encountered it. And I terrorized my male friends with it in college. But it's about a boy who likes to whack off at the bottom of the pool with his butt on the vent because it feels good sucking on his butt, and then he gets stuck. And I mean, shenanigans ensue from there. I won't spoil the rest of the story. It's worth the read. But it is a very clear reference in this movie to that short story, and it is a disgusting short story. And I thought they did a pretty good job with it in the movie as well.
If anybody should get their guts sucked out through their asshole, it's Hunt.
It was,
he's such a dick. He's a motherfucker. So it was I was like, vindication for being a misogynist.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the second that the various series of events, taking the gun from the child, throwing it over, whatever, it knocks the pool drain lever on. And then the cover for the drain just immediately got sucked in. I was like, okay, well, I see where this is going. I really didn't think that he would get sucked specifically on his ass, like in the short story, but he sure does. And then he gets all his guts pulled right out, launched out of that pressure cooker. My
that
God.
moment when it shows like whatever part of his body like collapse. Ooh, it was awesome.
I thought it would
I
be
don't know.
like, do you remember when we were little? Maybe this is not a universal experience, but I feel it probably is. And like, I feel like it's like a grandma thing to be like, careful with your long hair in the pool or you're gonna get caught in the vent. That's kind of the vibes that I thought, you know.
My hair gets caught in the Pilates machine all the time.
So the exact same thing.
Same thing.
Got a ponytail.
Well, this reminds me of my dual trauma that I brought up on the pod before when I watched that one Goosebumps. Oh no, that one Are You Afraid of the Dark episode where they put the public pool over an old cemetery and they found all the bodies except for one, and that ghost body lived in the pool and it grabbed the kid and dragged him down towards the drain. And then I watched Alien versus Predator, whichever one, and then Predator is in the bottom of the pool and he pulls the guy down through the drain and I had a panic attack and I had to leave the theater. It all comes back to that. And it's all here in Final Destination 4.
Damn.
But I just thought that was a perfectly anxiety producing sequence because I also love Janet's near-death experience. Like the drowning
in your own car in the car wash. Whoa.
Oh my God. The car wash is a scary place. It's scary in there. That's why dogs get so scared. They know what could happen.
Except those chihuahuas that love the car wash on TikTok. The weenies.
They do raves.
Yeah.
I know, I've seen that and I love it.
Good.
Not everyone can have a weenie rave, okay? Some people are spooked.
We want to have a weenie rave.
Weenie rave.
I will say though, she does drive one of those like Scion box cars.
I know. I can't believe those were around in 2009. God, they feel more recent to me, but I guess 2009 still feels pretty recent to me.
2009 was what, like 5 years ago?
Yeah. It was like
roughly speaking. Yeah.
5 years ago. It's fine.
Anytime anything, I'm talking about anything, I'm like, yeah, it was 3 years ago. I'm like, add 2.5 years to any amount of years I say something was ago. But anyway, yeah, I thought that was really, really fun. Her near death, like so many fucking things going on there. And I love that they actually saved her with her head.
I like that they saved her.
Stuck in the thing, and she was about to get fucking slapped to death with a little piece of plastic. That's terrible. What a way to go.
That part didn't seem that threatening to me. Like I'm sure whatever within the stakes of the movie, it could have been a killer. It seems silly to me to have that be like the final boss of that series of events because it felt like it would just like, you know what I mean, and
I think that the pole was there. Yeah.
But I was like, whatever. I was willing to go with it for the sake of the movie, regardless.
To just be trapped in that way.
In that moment.
Just be trapped in that way.
Just to be trapped.
I liked it. I liked it so much. And then I love the little fake out too, where they thought they were fine when it turned out to be the handsome cowboy, the true chivalrous gent was still alive and still in the mix. But
Jonathan Graves.
Can we just like really quickly talk about how fucking depressing George's entire storyline is? It's fucking devastatingly sad. Like he drunk drove and killed his whole family and lives in shame every day. And then when it comes his time to die, he tries to kill himself 6 different ways. This is so dark. This is so 2009. He's like, yeah, I ate all these pills and I just threw them up. And then I did this and I didn't die. And then I'm here hanging from a noose and I'm fine. And then I keep the noose on my neck for the rest of the conversation. I was like, dear God, 2009, go to sleep, go to bed. We don't need it. It's so fucked up.
Yeah. It was so dark.
We're like, ha ha ha. He tried to kill himself 6 times in a day. It's funny. It's not funny. It's really fucked up.
Yeah. I am willing to a little bit look past it and write it off as a reference to the moment in Final Destination 2 when Eugene gets the gun when they're all at like the police officer's house, you know what I mean? And say like, that's just a Final Destination 2 reference. The nail gun, Final Destination 3, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? But I did not care for it. And geez, they sure were not ready to address the implications of that.
Yeah, it's just it was a choice. It was an interesting choice, and it was
sure
so
was.
hee hee ha ha in the context of the film. And I was like, okay, honey, you laugh. I'll just sit here and be vulnerable in my hungover state instead.
I've only seen one good hee hee ha ha. The noose failed, and that's in the TV show Imposters. And even then, it's still dark. So.
Yeah. I was like, we love to make a suicide joke. Let's not. Okay, but it's 2009, so,
So we're going to.
So we're gonna, yeah.
What's the next death? Who dies after that?
Oh. I don't know because after George's fake out, then it is the cowboy in the hospital.
Yeah.
We get that little bath scene, which was so uncomfortable because the old man was racist, but then he was also so helpless and being like, somebody please help me, and just getting ignored. Sad.
Yeah, like that scene was like a little ramshackly because I was like, oh, I don't care about this guy, but he's dying,
Yeah, it's like he's gonna be fine. Anything. It's not part of death's design.
I just like didn't care that much about his death, but it was like spooky because electricity is scary. Also, was he intubated and he pulled his intubation tube out and they kind of were chill about that? Because he was for sure intubated at the very beginning of that scene, the cowboy. He had a big thing in his mouth. And then all of a sudden he's not intubated. And I was like, maybe that was too disgusting for them to show him unintubating himself, because he surely would have died just from that. Because he had a thing in his mouth. He was like comatose. And then he got wet. And then he woke up.
Maybe was it possibly just like a little oxygen tube in his nose?
It wasn't just that. It was in his mouth. I'm pretty sure, but I could be wrong. And I'll fact check myself. And then you can call me out in the comments, babies, if you need to. But I remember being like, well, I feel like they skipped a big horrifying part. And thank you. And thank you. Because I didn't need to see it. I didn't. But
I do not claim this.
I love again the fake out where they're like, yeah, here's like electricity and water and this and that. But in the end, the tub got him.
In the end, it just crushes right through. Which is where that IMDb trivia piece came in with the books. Because apparently there's a very similar death in one of the Final Destination books. Called like The Final Destination, The End of the Line, or something like that.
How many of them are called like The End of the Line? And then they're like,
probably every single one. One of them actually is called Destination Zero. That one's about terrorism. So
I love free speech, but like
hang on.
Oh
like,
no.
Can we not do a terrorism Final Destination? My God. Oh my God. The other tagline for the Final Destination is rest in peace.
Wait, I have to read you the description for that one because it's so fascinating to
me.
For
the terrorism Final Destination book.
You're not, there's going to be...
It all comes back to 9/11, guys.
No.
After an investigative journalist narrowly cheats death in a terrorist attack, she sees a great angle for a story by telling the survivors' tales in her magazine. When the survivors start turning up dead, though she begins to suspect foul play and finds herself dragged into a world of spiritualism and conspiracies that ultimately leads back to Victorian England and Jack the Ripper.
I want to die.
I almost want to read it.
I don't want to be conscious.
I want to see how Jack the Ripper comes into play.
I'm curious now. Jack the Ripper, I could be in.
I also think as a narrative device for the books, a journalist like telling the story of all the other survivors is an interesting way to be like keeping tabs on the survivors, because that I think was kind of a flaw of FD4 is like in FD1 they know everybody, it's all the same crew. In FD2 for whatever reason the cop brings them all into the station because they're already kind of talking about Flight 180 and all that stuff because they're nearby enough. In FD3 they all know each other and they're referencing FD1 and FD2. But in this one there's no like larger conversation at play about how like this has happened before to other people. There's like no real acknowledgement of that. They're very much figuring out the rules kind of them. Okay. They're kind of just like doing their own, there's no Tony Todd to guide them at any point.
All Final Destinations movie need Tony Todd.
Yeah. I mean, even just to voice like a scary devil man on a roller coaster ride, we got to get something. He could have announced the NASCAR race, you know what I mean?
One of the things that I did find myself missing was like the ominous song that played throughout the movie. I was missing that.
You needed a soundtrack.
I did.
Yeah. No, I missed that too. We love a theme song. We love a song that says Final Destination in it, like in the first one.
Hell yeah, we do.
Or I'm still obsessed with that whatever 60s song that they used in FD3. But yeah, I mean from there it's just like a total fucking shit show. Like we get the premonition that Nick has about the mall. And we love a death in a mall. Super fun. And also like to see my one actual nightmare scenario, which is to be eaten by a escalator. Cause
I know.
I seen that video of that lady. There's a video. There's a real
in
video
like China, right?
In China, and she was with her kid.
I've
they're
seen
going
that.
up the escalator, and the top part opens up, and she saves her kid, and she gets.
Yeah, she like yeets her kid, and then gets yeeted down.
And she gets eaten by the escalator. That shit can happen. That shit can really happen. And they probably were like, yeah, we saw that video too, and now we're putting it in Final Destination. So
they
I was like,
to take a real life tragedy.
God. Yeah.
The NASCAR crash was based on a real life tragedy.
I know. I mean, in the first episode we did for Final Destination Summer, I read all those deaths that inspired this type of thing. It's just like there are a lot of freak accidents that happen, and they're great fuel for a Final Destination movie. That's why FD6 is coming out in 2023. Because there's been more stupid shit that's happened since whenever FD5 came out. But yeah, I loved all the chain of events stuff. But what I thought was really interesting with this one. Okay, wait. Well, before I get to that, the moment that I was talking about with the like CGI, and I was like, okay, and now we're at green screen. Like I knew that George was gonna die because he was walking across the street being like, you ever have deja vu? And suddenly the light completely changed and everything about the scene completely changed just slightly. And then he got smash bammed by an ambulance. I was like, okay, the CGI shouldn't be a spoiler, but it is. I was like, it ruined that death for me.
I think they also had to do reshoots with that scene too. So there may have been some just like general. I wonder if at any point they were trying to do practical effects, although I'm gonna guess no, so that they could 3Dify it.
Yeah, I think this one they were like, the new hot thing is CGI and 3D.
Part of that with like the bus or whatever was filmed on the Universal Studios like lot in their little New York area.
Oh, well, that part was in the bus part. This is the ambulance part.
Oh wait, actually, I guess
in front of the hospital.
That part, yeah, that part must be talking about the Death by Caffeine Cafe.
Oh yeah, that's the Death by Caffeine Cafe. That's the end.
Never mind.
I'm excited to talk about it too. No, it's okay. But I loved that there was a little callback to FD3 with the nail gun. I thought also it's a little It's Been Done-y, but it also was kind of like an ode to whoever that girl from Degrassi or whatever, A Star Is Born, Not
Alex
a Star
Johnson
Is
from
Born.
Instant Star.
Instant Star. How close was I? It was very
You
close.
were-
I got
you were-
Canada and I got the
yeah.
word star.
You did a great job.
Wow. But I love that, like, Nick really thought he was like, I'm gonna use my premonition and I have it figured out and I know exactly what I'm gonna do to make everything better. And he got so fucked. He got so fucked when he tried to save everyone's life. Like, nailed gun in the arm onto the wall. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Very biblical.
I would have loved to have a little shot of somebody finding him and see how that played out, but I guess it's not important. It's
We
not
also
adding anything,
love-
I guess.
Like, how special is it if you were to die to be watching a movie and be like, big explosion, and then that's it, you're dead.
And then big explosion. It would be
Poetic.
kind of iconic. Yeah. Kind of iconic.
Sometimes
that said,
it's
I did
just the
like
timing's just right, you know?
I thought it was kind of fun that they were distributing the prophecies at that point in the film. Like, George was getting visions, Lori was getting visions. I thought Janet was being an absolute bitch about it.
She was being such a bitch.
Considering
She's
she
like,
was just
"You're
like,
my
this is
best-"
where I was supposed to be in the first place. Okay.
That's the callback to the very beginning of the movie. She's like, I was always supposed to be here watching this movie instead of at NASCAR, which it wasn't NASCAR, but we're calling it that. And I was like, so you're always supposed to be dead, bitch. Like, I don't know what to fucking tell you. Yeah, fuck. She's just, I was mad at her too, because I was like, girl, you went through that car wash. You saw what happened.
Yes.
You know about Hunt's asshole. Like, I don't
Right.
know why you think this is fake now after all that you've seen.
And like, it's not like Lori is having premonitions all of the time. This is literally the first time it's ever happened to her.
And
Do you have
also,
a
okay,
counter?
I really liked that part. I think it was during the premonition that you see her noticing all these weird things that are like parallels to the first scene. I thought that was
Yes.
super fun. Like, the person's ringtone was Dixieland, and someone says like down in front and all of
Mhm.
that. I
Move
thought
your
that was
feet.
really fun. Yeah,
Mhm.
I thought that was really, really fun. A fun callback kind of thing to have her just really put her on edge. So I'm sticking by what I said, where this is a hokey ripoff of the whole franchise, but they did some things. They did some things.
It's kind of like with the Scream franchise, how the first one was about horror movies, and then the third one was about Hollywood, and then the fifth one was about the Scream franchise. You know what I mean? Like, Final Destination 4, the Final Destination, whatever, I don't give a shit. It is like
It's
about
not
the
the final destination.
It's
We've got
literally
another
not
one coming.
the Final Destination. And then the FD5, I mean, if I'm remembering correctly, kind of just ignores that the fourth one was so different and is doing the same thing as all the others. There might be some other stylistic choices. Like, it definitely looks visually a lot more similar to this one, I think, than the other ones.
Probably not 3D.
It is not 3D. But just like
Thank
this
God.
style of filming had evolved from 2000 to, I don't know, 2011, whenever that one came out. But yeah, I kind of just have to be like, they thought it was the last one instead of being just another sequel. They wanted to set it apart and be in conversation with all of them, but in a different way. And like, if it really were the last one, I think I would like it better. But given the fact that it's literally not, I like that less.
If it was the last one, I would be like, way to go out with a big old fart. Like,
Yeah, right. I'm so glad that this isn't the last one and we get 2 more.
It's literally like a wet, sad fart at the end of an amazing, like amazing but hokey and stupid franchise. So I'm so glad that this was not the final one. But I had fun. And I really loved the very, very end, they do what FD3 lets you imaginate a new thing that I'm starting to say. FD3 lets you imagine the very, very final deaths of all of our characters because they're all gone by the end of the movie. But this one is a similar thing where like death still catches up to them, but much quicker. Poor things. They only get 2 weeks apiece, and they die in that shitty ass cafe. Which I have to say that the set dressing for the cafe was so perfect. Oh my god, it was so perfect. You ever been to one of those classic cafes where they're like, "This is Janet's painting, and it's $200, and you buy Janet's painting, and it's here on the wall. Janet lives down the block." Like it's one of those like I don't know, the coffee's bad and the decor is worse, but it's your favorite place. I used to go to a cafe that looked literally exactly like Death by Caffeine. So it was a very lovely experience for me visually. Great job. But the whole time that I was watching this movie, I totally missed that in the very beginning when they're in that same place after the NASCAR thing, that the table they always sit at has that scratch into it that says it's coming here. And that's in like all of Nick's visions, and I was like, what the fuck is that shit? Like I didn't understand, and it was like crossed out and then it said it's here. And so then it's great to pay attention. I would like to
it
say.
Is great.
It's
Isn't
something
it nice
that's good
when you pay
to
attention?
To pay attention.
I don't do it all the time, but yeah, when I do, my gosh, the experience.
I can't say that I was doing that at first, but I did rewatch the beginning of this movie. It really helped to rewatch the beginning. Then I like understood the end a lot more, and I was like, cute, cool, not crucial, but cute. But like, he really tried to like prevent his own death. He's one of those guys who's like, hey, just so you know, there's no toilet paper left in the bathroom. Just wanted to let you know, that kind of thing. I do that sometimes. I don't want to cause waves, but there's something that's wrong. And I just want to let you know before someone is mean. So he's like, hey, just so you know, your entire scaffolding's about to fall and everyone's going to die. And I just wanted to let you know about that.
Better safe than sorry. Safety first.
Safety first. I was recently impaled by 5 nails. But I loved that, like, the very, very end, you see how viscerally they die in that same X-ray way as the
opening. Just in 3D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I missed awesome. The original spooky, eerie, slow burn, death wind, blah, 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 opening credits that they do in the other movies. I thought the stylistic credits in this movie and like saving them for after the initial disaster was like an interesting choice. I loved that they cut back to it at the end.
Yeah, it really ties it together. I thought it was so fun, and I was like, it was so graphic. It's not because
the
it
head
is
pops
CGI,
right off for
but it's graphic.
Lori.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, Sydney, you're the gore queen. Did it feel more graphic to you? Yes. I don't know if it was. Oh, it felt fucked up, right? This whole movie.
Yes. So I think this movie was like the deaths were like way more graphic than 3. Probably like I don't know. I felt like the deaths in the second one, and that makes sense too. So the director of the first one directed the third one, and then the director of the second one also directed the fourth one.
Oh yeah, and here we are. Okay, that makes sense.
Like that's why it was like the deaths were way more.
He also did Snakes on a Plane, just for reference.
What are we doing? Snakes on a plane? There are too many snakes on this. There are too many motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. Oh my god, I can't wait to do that.
Snake.
That makes so much fun.
Snake month. Let's go.
That makes Snake month. I would do Snake month. We already did Anaconda though.
We could do Anaconda
but we didn't do Anaconda 2 Blood Orchid. Hunt for the Blood Orchid. Search for the Blood Orchid.
I've seen sort of it's perusal for a blood orchid.
They're on the lookout.
They're looking for one. That makes so much sense, Sydney. I'm glad you pointed that out because, yeah, like we didn't talk about it that much, but like literally, we get guts. We get guts exploding out into the world and splatting on the ground. We get like, I don't know. I felt like the people cutting in half was crazier. When the mechanic's head goes through that pole, that was graphic. When his literal
when he
whole
gets
body
squished
gets
through the chain link fence.
And Lori's death in the vision, it like we were just talking about, we didn't talk about that as much. Her leg is getting ripped off. You see like everything, and then like parts of her everywhere. Like it was really fucking graphic, and I was like, this is a this is a different game.
There's a lot to take in
than
here.
What we've seen before. But I mean, I'm glad I didn't see them get run over by the truck, though. But just by the way I saw their skeletons blow up with still a little bit of blood.
And I feel like because you didn't see it and it was like the weird CGI 3D, they were like, we're gonna make this fucking gory.
Yeah.
And
so I like
they succeeded.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, I guess it's time for our segments.
Segmentos.
Sweet God. How could this very straight movie be gayer?
I do feel this is the straightest Final Destination so far, for sure, but arguably just so straight in general.
It is so straight. It's super straight.
Like, normally I can look at any besties in media and go, they could kiss. I didn't get those vibes with Janet and Lori.
With Janet and Lori at all. And like
MILF though. MILF we've talked about.
MILF is hot. Like, I feel sexually attracted to her, so that's innately gay.
She wanted to be hot for her girlies, as discussed.
There's that. Okay, we discussed that. So MILF could be a bisexual woman married to a man.
Her hot goth hairstylist.
Okay, Dee Dee's gay.
Yeah, Dee Dee's she's absolute a chaos bisexual for sure.
Yeah. Okay, well at least there's Dee Dee. Thank God for Dee Dee.
And probably one of the sons will grow up to be gay.
Yeah, George could be bisexual and still have loved his wife.
That's true. That's true. He didn't give me anything that made me to believe that.
Some people are quiet about it, you know.
He was too busy suffering through his trauma.
Not everybody starts a gay podcast, you know. I mean,
exactly.
We can't. I mean, thank God. Then we'd be pushed.
The competition would be wild.
Yeah. I mean, no. I mean, Nick's like so straight. He's so straight, and he's like, he do be boring. I'm sorry.
Nadia, who is unnamed within the movie, but I know from the Final Destination wiki, and from IMDb trivia, because it said Ashley Tisdale auditioned for that part, and I went, what part? Who's Nadia? But she's the tire squish girl. I think she could be bisexual.
Oh yeah,
Ashley Tisdale should have been that role.
That would have been so weird for
incredible.
Ashley Tisdale, though. I mean, I would
have
been
incredible.
She would have deserved
awesome.
a bigger part as Ashley Tisdale.
No, it could have been like her little cameo. Could have been her like foray into becoming a Paris Hilton in House of Wax.
Okay,
Not
but here's the
quite
thing.
there. She wasn't ready yet. She was still too close to High School Musical. Yes, Sydney.
I want to transition into where would Matthew Lillard fit in, and instead of it being a woman, I want it to be Matthew Lillard, who is like there, but then he gets his head whomped off by a tire.
Matthew Lillard could also be the sexy cowboy who's nice and good and nice. And then
we love a hot, sexy
he
gentleman
rips
like
out his
cowboy.
intubation tube because that's canon and it happened.
I love cowboy for him. I would love to see him in a cowboy hat.
I think he would look really nice in a cowboy hat. He would look great.
I would love to see him.
I could see him going like,
ma'am,
whatever you would like, ma'am. Tipping his cap. I don't know, whatever he says. I don't remember. That's a good place.
Anything for you, I would die for you. My name is Matthew Lillard.
Also, he exploded. Also, okay, another part that is really gruesome, talking about the gruesomeness of it. Her first, that lady's first death, not that bad, but scary. The time she dies again in real life after non-premonition death.
The second tire explosion?
The second tire explosion. half of her torso's ripped off, and then like she's somehow scalped and her hair's just sitting there, and then her body's still twitching. That shit was fucked.
Oh my
That shit was
God.
fucked. And it's for like a second, and it goes into the cool skeleton CGI opening credits. So you're like, I forgot what I've seen. I'm filled with trauma. Like, fuck. Oh my God.
Yeah.
There was like we were seeing it all. We were seeing it all. Oh man. Okay. Any other Matthew Lillard placements before we go to Dumb Bitch?
I don't feel moved beyond the ones discussed.
Okay. Dumb Bitch. It's hard with these.
I think it's Janet. I don't think you go through something like this and then be in the movie with your friend and go, you're crazy. You're a stupid bitch. I would never believe you. I think you should leave. I hate you. Shut up. She went so hard. I was shocked that she was there in the ending scene until somebody went up to what's his face and was like, you're the hero who saved everybody at the mall. The guy with the chihuahua from earlier that Janet gave some money to. So, she does get some kudos points. I guess that they made up because he was deemed to be a hero, and so she had to eat her words. Because how else would he have known if, in fact, there weren't more premonitions happening? But she went so hot on literally being like, "You're crazy. Shut the fuck up."
Yeah, but like the race is so bad, and he's so dumb.
That is also compelling.
It's a tie between a swastika tattooed racist and someone who is crazy. I don't even know what Janet was doing. I agree with you though. That was like,
it's just dumb.
It's
like
just,
the
like,
racist
honey,
is a
like
horrible person. You know what I mean? Janet was being a dumb bitch.
She was being such a dumb bitch because it's like, you've seen.
You know
You
this
know.
is real.
You know about this. Your ex-boyfriend got his asshole ripped out, like by the grace of God or death himself. Like, you need to take this shit seriously. Okay, I'll give it to Janet.
I do think the other person, there should be something worse for him than dumb bitch, but we just don't have that segment at this time.
Yeah, he should have had a more
banished from the movie
scene.
award. Yeah.
Like, could have done without it, TBH.
Yeah.
TBH could have done without it.
I'm so glad that Final Destination took a stand against racism. They did force the audience to sit through some racism to do it, though.
They did.
Hey, let me just give you a bunch of racism, but then we're going to be like, but then you die.
That's bad,
thank
though.
You.
Clap for us now.
The why can't we be friends thing was really fucking funny though. That was hilarious.
He was really drinking. Funny. I mean, the moment right before that, I was like, wow, if only he wasn't terrible, George could be a great influence on his life, because it was like George inside with his AA book, the guy literally drinking in his car outside, and he was drinking the beer from Final Destination 2 and Final Destination 3, which like
yes. Oh my
thing.
God, I'm so glad. Oh my God, I love that because I love that.
Yeah,
I love that so much.
But yeah, I mean, I think that'll scoot us right into Knives Out of Fives.
Yeah.
And I will set the scene. On IMDb, this movie has a 5.1 out of 10. And I haven't checked my notes for the other Final Destinations. I should. But my guess would be that these might be the lowest on Rotten Tomatoes. It is 27% rotten from critics and 35% rotten from audiences. And it was nominated for the worst film at the 2010 Fangoria Chainsaw Awards.
Wow. I love that.
A ringing endorsement.
A ringing endorsement. I mean, okay.
Yeah, that's definitely the worst Rotten Tomatoes scores, by the way, as I scroll back through.
It's not good.
It's not good.
But it is so much fun. How about that?
It could have been, it was too 3D-ified, you know what I mean? I think if it were camp, it could have been like actually good. Instead, it's so straight. It's so straight.
It's so straight. It's so straight. The characters are like blah, except for like Hunt sucks so bad that you were like can't wait for his butthole to get ripped out, you know?
That was a cinematic masterpiece, actually.
That was a masterpiece.
When the guts exploded up, yeah.
This for me, this is giving Jason X. You know, it's giving like that kind
Jason
of
X
horror.
was a little camp though.
Well, okay, yeah. It's giving straighter Jason X. I'm just saying that for me, it's gotten to the point in the franchise where it's gonna be a bad movie. My expectations for 5 are on the floor, so we'll see what happens. Apparently, I've seen it before, but I don't know if that's true. Only time will tell. Tune in next month. But like for me, I wasn't expecting the world because we already know. No matter what you know about the franchise, you know FD3 is the best. So you know that it's only going to go downhill from here. And this was a fun, scary movie version of the Final Destination franchise for me. I had a really good time. It was gruesome as fuck. I was freaking out because I was vulnerable because I was hungover. So it was a good time to watch it. So you take it a little more seriously. That said, I can't give it a good score because it's a piece of shit in the best way. So I'm gonna give it like a 3.5 because I had a really good time, but it's not a good movie. But I had a blast and I'd watch it again literally anytime. With y'all would be better. Not sitting in my desk chair at work.
Sure. I think if this really were the last Final Destination, I could give it like a solid 3 maybe, because like they're doing so much referencing to the other deaths. They're having fun with it. They're throwing some like 180 things in there where it's like, oh, they're sitting in section 180 at the race, and like the kids' jerseys are like number 9 and number 20, and if you multiply those, it's 180. Blah blah blah. Like IMDb trivia, they clocked all the ones presumably, unless there's more. I think if it really were the last one, I would be able to embrace it as different and as so referential. Because it's not the last one, I kind of just feel like they were in their flop era and I was entertained, but I would give it like no higher than 2 knives out of 5s for me. Like, not to say that I didn't have fun, but I just don't think it is good enough to deserve more than that.
Okay, can I edit mine to a 3 because now I feel
like
like
to,
way too high. No,
feelings,
honestly,
babe.
it's really not that good, and I've been rating things really high lately.
Okay, I'll edit
it's
it. But I'm making
middle of the road. It's like very mid. It's very mid, but I laughed a lot.
Very mid.
Okay, I put notations for yours. Originally 3.5. For mine, I put 3 if it were the last. Sydney,
this is a solid 2.5 for me.
Okay.
Like, I don't give a shit about the characters. Like, some of the deaths are fun. Like, if they had more character development and made you like more involved in the plot and the story.
It's so shallow.
Exactly.
It's so shallow.
But like there was fun moments, you know? So
they had the Clear Rivers water. That was the clue, and like, her name is Clear Rivers. Yeah, like they were enjoying themselves putting it all together.
Right. So like this is just like it's fine, but it's like bad fine, you know?
Yeah. It's hard for me because I love bad movies. Like I love them. I love,
and it is a Final Destination. So like, how wrong can you go?
Yeah, I love Final Destination. I loved Jason X. I loved them. They were bad. It's the same thing here. I'm feeling nervous about even a 3. Oh my God. I give it too high of a score. I'm giving it a 2.5. I've taken it back down. It was like so mid.
It was so mid. Not even real peer pressure.
Nobody's even leaning on her this time. She just keeps lowering it.
I'm peer pressuring myself. I have to be more objective because I love a lot of things.
You can't put it on Letterboxd and then really see how it stands up against our other ratings.
I'm literally looking at Letterboxd right now to see what I did for Final Destination 2. I gave that a 3.9. I stand by that. But this is definitely a 2.5 in comparison to Final Destination 2. Anyway, all right, we've gone through all of my emotions, and now we're on the other side, and we're moving on from this segment of Final Destination Summer and on to the next. And who is announcing this one? Is it you, Chelsea?
Yes,
Chelsea,
and I'm
so
go fucking excited.
Tell them what episode this is before you say what it is.
Oh yeah, this is episode number 100. And when we realized
the centennial,
baby, a hundy. When we realized it was episode 100, we were like, we need to do something special, something exciting. We need to pick a really good movie. But then we also realized it is in fact a Fifth Tuesday. And
so we can do whatever we want.
Yeah, I really stand by Fifth Tuesday as an institution, as a concept, as one of my favorite things that we're doing now. I have pitched a follow-up little other similar kind of things. I won't pitch it now. I'll let this moment have its shine. But yeah, so it's our 100th episode. It's a Fifth Tuesday. We said we've got to pick a really banger of a Fifth Tuesday to shine for our 100th episode. And so we chose, you may have gleaned over the course of this episode that it is a musical. We chose the movie musical of all time, the spooky queen of movie musicals, not so spooky, but lots of murder.
There is murder.
It is Chicago. Starring Renee Zellweger, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Richard Gere, Queen Latifah, Lucy Liu's even in there for a minute. It's that bitch. It's that bitch.
It is that bitch.
And we will be joined by our podcast lawyer, Alexandra, for this episode. And it is going to be something very special because Alex and I grew up with Chicago. I mean, we all did, but we sang it with my mommy on carpool on the way to school every single day, not every single day, but many days of the year. And then even after my mommy stopped driving us to school, and it is part of us, in our blood, in our lifeblood. When I watch this movie, I feel ways that I can't usually express in words, but I will try for next week.
We're just gonna be breaking out in song.
I gotta study the soundtrack so I don't accidentally embarrass myself. I've got a good working knowledge, but I would hate to be on the record for our 100th episode and not slaying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna let's do rehearsal.
And also, dear listeners, just a fair warning, but you will be exposed to the four of us, which could be the reason why Monica's boyfriend Adam has tinnitus. So be prepared.
Don't skip it. It's our 100th episode. But also apologies.
Like, you have to love us regardless, but we're giving you fair warning.
Right?
They definitely do. Why would they subject themselves to near to 2 hours of
so
audience
miserable.
if they didn't like it? If they didn't
That's
like
why
it.
you guys for last
That's
episode on
on
Bodies,
you.
Bodies, Bodies. Who's our hate listener? Who would spend that much of their time being so miserable listening to our little voices?
They hate listening to the first 10 minutes.
And then they go, I can't bear it. Yeah.
I can't even do this anymore.
But anyway, yeah, it's going to be amazing. Episode 100. I can't believe we've gotten to this milestone. It's really fucking cool and crazy. And then it's also our last episode of August. And I know we've been saying it's been spooky season since, 6 months ago, 5 months ago, whatever the fuck. No, 4 months ago. I've done math now. Since our Halloween episode. But it really kicks in the hyperdrive in September and October, as you well know, as spookies yourselves. So this will be our last summer horror, and then we're going deep into it. Do we have our schedule set? No.
Well, we do, because we'll still finish Final Destination Summer.
Oh yeah. Don't worry. We're still doing FD5. We have to. My God, we've been hyping it.
Imagine if we were like, nah.
and that's it.
No, I can't wait to talk about it. I can't wait to finish up Final Destination.
I'm really
Summer.
excited too. I'm really excited. I'm excited to see whatever the exciting thing that happens that everyone's like, it's exciting. You know, I don't know what it is, but I heard that there's something. And apparently there's no mammogram.
No mammogram.
Disappointing. Whatever.
No boob crush. If you know what the boob crush is, please tell us, because now I'm so curious.
If you know about the boob crush, why don't you talk about it in a 5-star review for us on Apple Podcasts? It could be something. Imagine writing a haiku review about a mammogram scene that doesn't exist. It could be a really exciting point of creative writing for you. Think about it. It could be really, really fun. How many syllables are in mammogram? Enough. Figure it out.
3.
There you go. Wow, you're halfway there. And why not give us a follow on social media as well? We are spooky_Tuesday on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, at Spooky Tuesday Pod on Facebook and Tumblr, and Spooky Tuesday on Letterboxd. And we do have that one YouTube video, and it's gorgeous. So
wait, I have
subscribe
a haiku
there.
For you.
Okay, do it.
Mammogram death scene. Monica remembers it. What movie is that?
Oh my God.
Chelsea's the haiku queen.
Thank you so
so
much.
good at this.
Thank you so much.
Chelsea, I need you to make a whole bunch of fake Apple accounts and leave us all of these haiku reviews.
Look, someone can use that haiku.
Plagiarize Chelsea.
You can use
and
that
post
one.
it.
You should credit me because I'm the author, but it's okay if you don't, I guess. But you should.
If you give us a 5-star review, we will forget about plagiarism. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the penultimate Final Destination summer. Thanks for listening.
Bye, spookies.
Where are you going?
If you're right about this whole crash thing, then I'm going to make the most of every moment I have left. So I'm going to do what I do best. I'm going to go get laid. If I'm dying, I'm trying.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Haidt, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamara, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at the_moon_OMG.